Asterisk, asterisk, the gate to the field, asterisk, asterisk, deep within you, beyond the noise of the world, there is a sunlit field where the air is silent yet full of life. There, every sound softens so you can hear the deepest whisper of your soul. Imagine yourself standing in that field. The golden light rests upon your shoulders, a soft breeze touches your hair, and the earth beneath your feet feels tender, as if welcoming each breath you take. In that moment, something small yet powerful is calling you, not with words, but with a wave of awareness rising from within. I'm Joseph Murphy, and I want to speak to you about the field of pearls, not a land out there, but the land of consciousness, where every thought is a seed, every emotion a drop of rain, and every belief a tender sprout. Beneath what seems like ordinary soil lie luminous pearls, sacred qualities that have always been within you: gratitude, peace, love, and wisdom. They have been there since the beginning, waiting for you to return and awaken them. That field is a symbol of the human mind, and those pearls are the levels of awareness. Each time you recognize a truth, a light, a pure feeling, you have found a pearl. And as you keep digging with patience, that light expands, illuminating your whole life. When you take your first step into this field, you make a silent covenant with your own soul. You agree that from this moment, you will no longer live on the surface, no longer chase the noise of the world, but begin to look within, where real life is breathing. I want you to pause, close your eyes, and breathe slowly. Feel the wind on your skin, the ground supporting your feet, and the rhythm of your heart blending with the rhythm of the universe. You do not need to try to believe, only to feel, because every spiritual journey begins with feeling. You cannot understand the soul through reason. You can only touch it through stillness. In life, you may have searched endlessly for a better job, a deeper love, greater wealth. You may have achieved many things, yet still felt empty in quiet hours. That feeling is not failure. It is the call of the field. It reminds you that a treasure waits beneath the familiar soil of your mind, a place you rarely pause to see. Many have come to me asking, Mr. Murphy, where should I go to find peace? I smile and say, you do not need to go anywhere. Peace is not a place to reach. It is what happens when you return. The field within you is not on some distant horizon. It is present in every breath, in the silence between two thoughts. And if you stop for a moment, you will feel it, not through your eyes, but through the sense of being. The instant you know that you are alive is when you touch the surface of that field. I call that moment the gate of awareness. When you stand at this gate, there is nothing to do. Do not rush to dig or to seek pearls. Simply be present. For the sacred field does not open through effort. It opens through gentle attention. When the mind becomes quiet, you can hear the heartbeat of the earth, and you know you are in the right place. Let me tell you clearly, you are not here by chance. Your presence in this moment is the result of a call your soul sent out long ago. Perhaps you have lived many years feeling not enough, not peaceful, not whole. And now the field is answering, saying, enough, stop, look within. This field does not judge you. It does not ask what you have done, how successful you are, or what you believe. It only asks you to be here in the complete honesty of yourself. Because the moment you accept yourself, with all your mistakes, wounds, and fears, the soil softens. That is the first condition for miracles to grow. I want you to remember a truth of the law of mind. What you believe to be true in your heart will become true in your experience. When you believe that a treasure lies within you, the entire universe begins to move to lead you to that treasure. That belief itself is the first pearl, the pearl of realization. No shovel is needed, no long journey required, only a moment of faith and awareness. From that moment, the field opens, and the true journey of awakening begins. I tell you, as I have told thousands across America, the treasure you seek is not out there. It is within your own consciousness. Return, and you will see that you are both the field and the brightest pearl within it. Asterisk, asterisk. The first pearl is called awareness. Asterisk, asterisk. When you stand in the field of consciousness, the first gift your soul gives you is not a material pearl, nor a radiant light, but a small spark of awareness. It is as gentle as the breeze that brushes your cheek, yet strong enough to awaken your entire inner world. I call it the pearl of awareness, the first pearl, the foundation of every miracle in life. Awareness does not come through effort. It comes in the moment you pause and look with the eyes of the heart. It may happen while you are washing dishes, walking down a familiar street, or sitting quietly in the dark. A thought arises. Maybe I have gone too far from myself. And in that instant, the first light flickers within the field. I, Joseph Murphy, have seen that moment in many people. A man who had chased success for 30 years once came to me with weary eyes. He said, "I have everything except peace." I smiled and said, "You are not missing peace. You have only forgotten where it is." A week later, he wrote to me, "This morning I just sat watching the sunlight on the wall, and suddenly my heart felt full." That was when he found the first pearl, the realization that peace is nowhere else but within himself. This pearl is small, but it holds the power of rebirth. Once you see it, everything around you begins to change. The world is still the same, but the way you see it is different. Others may speak the same words, but you listen with a new heart. Work, duties, and circumstances remain, but your inner being begins to shine from within. Remember, awareness is not understanding, it is knowing. Understanding belongs to the mind. Knowing is the vibration of the soul. When you are aware, you cannot explain it with words, yet you feel it through your whole being. It is warm, light, and true. It needs no proof, for its very presence is the proof. The pearl of awareness always begins with a silent question. Could it be that all I seek outside is already waiting within? When that question arises, the field begins to move. The ground of the mind trembles softly, and you begin to hear the call of the earth, not to run away, but to return. See your life as a vast garden. At times you may have planted seeds of ambition, worry, comparison, and fear. They have grown into weeds. But now, when the pearl of awareness appears, you look at the garden with new eyes. You no longer wish to fight the weeds. You simply want to nurture the soil so that good seeds may grow. And that is the beginning of awakening. I once said, "You are not punished for your mistakes, you are punished by them." This saying is not to judge, but to help you see that every experience is the voice of your subconscious reminding you to return. When you begin to view things that way, you see that what once frightened you is only a teacher showing the path. Remember a time in your life when you paused and saw something clearly. Maybe it was the moment you realized that others were never your enemies, but mirrors reflecting your own fear. Or when you understood that you do not need to chase anyone for love, because true love has always lived within you. Those moments are real pearls. They do not glitter outside, but glow softly within. And I tell you this, awareness is the first healing, because when you see the truth, darkness dissolves without effort. Just as when light is turned on, the room does not need to fight the night. Awareness is that light. Someone once told me, "I have heard many teachings and read many books, yet my life has not changed." I asked, "Have you truly seen yourself in what you read?" They were silent. Because transformation does not come from knowledge, it comes from awareness. A person may read hundreds of books, but once he truly sees, even just once, he will never be the same again. When you are aware, you no longer ask when or how long, because you understand that the destination is not ahead, it is where you stand. Consciousness is not measured by time, it is measured by presence. 1 minute of awareness is worth more than 10 years of thinking. In the field of pearls, the first pearl is not buried deep. It lies just beneath the thin layer of forgetfulness. And only when you touch it do you know you have found the right place. It needs no stage lights, only the sincerity of your gaze. I want you to do something small right now. Place your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and softly say, "I know there is a treasure within me." You do not need strong faith, only honesty. Because the moment you say this, the universe begins to listen, and the field softens beneath your feet. I want to ask you something, and answer with the honesty of your heart. Have you ever felt that a silent treasure is waiting for you deep within yourself? If you have ever heard that call, even once, in a dream, in the rain, or in a quiet moment, then you have already begun the journey. Whisper to me, or to the universe a short message. I am here, not for anyone to hear, but to confirm to your soul that you are ready. Because only when a person says, I am ready, heaven and earth will open the way for him. Thank you for being present in this moment. You have just touched your first pearl, the pearl of awareness. Asterisk, asterisk, the slow pace and the ritual of digging deep. Asterisk, asterisk. When you have found the first pearl of awareness, the field within begins to awaken. But for that pearl to shine completely, you must learn something that seems simple, yet few truly master: to slow down. I, Joseph Murphy, want you to understand that in the inner world, slow does not mean weak. Slow is the rhythm of divine intelligence. Everything rushed belongs to the ego, while everything lasting belongs to the spirit. No seed ever sprouts because it is pushed. It grows only when the soil is cared for, the water is given, and the sower trusts the season. Your mind is the same. It needs patience, breath, and a rhythm that honors stillness. Imagine yourself walking through the field at dawn. Dew still rests on the blades of grass, and the ground beneath your feet is soft and damp. The sky is pale blue, the light not yet bright, but enough for the first rays to slip through the clouds. Everything in that moment seems to speak the same language, the language of a slow, deep, and genuine life. As you walk gently, you feel every breath, every heartbeat, every whisper of the wind. In that moment, you are no longer the observer of the field. You are part of it. This is the first ritual of the seeker of pearls, the ritual of moving slowly and listening deeply. Because the field of consciousness does not open to the impatient. It listens only to those who are truly present. Every time you pause, every time you take a slow breath and rest your attention on the now, the soil within you softens a little more. When the soil softens, the pearls buried in forgetfulness begin to shine. I once told my students, the field does not respond to noise, it responds to the quality of attention. If you bring gentleness to your mind, it will give you light. If you treat it with tension and force, it will close itself. Digging deep does not mean digging hard. It means learning to touch softly yet see through. Like a gardener who senses the water veins beneath the ground, the seeker within learns to sense the flow of energy beneath ordinary thoughts. When you listen, instead of trying to understand, when you observe instead of control, you begin to touch the deeper layer of your being. I want you to begin a small daily ritual, which I call the 3 breaths of the digger. First, pause. Whenever you find yourself caught in worry, anger, or reaction, stop for a moment. No need to fix, just stop. Second, take 1 full breath. Inhale slowly, feel the air move through your body. Exhale softly, letting tension fall into the earth. Third, place your attention. Focus on 1 simple point in the present, the sound of the wind, the beat of your heart, the feeling of your feet on the floor. These 3 breaths are the first gentle strokes of your shovel on the field. Nothing mystical, but if you practice consistently, you will see miracles, because miracles appear only in simple acts done with full presence. Remember, you cannot force your mind to be still. The mind does not need force, it needs guidance. When you breathe slowly and focus your attention, you are leading it back home, the home of stillness. There, the second pearl will appear, the pearl of clarity. At times, as you practice, old memories, fears, or discomforts may surface. Do not fear them. They are stones on the ground, revealing themselves for you to remove. Do not push them away. Look directly, touch lightly, and say, I see you. That alone is enough. The stone will fade, and beneath it, a small piece of pearl will appear. Many believe digging deep means working harder, trying stronger. But true depth comes from gentleness. You cannot make the earth bloom by striking it. You make it bloom by caring daily, with consistency and love. Likewise, your soul does not need reasoning, it needs patient presence. I have met people whose entire energy shifted in a single minute of stillness, not because they learned something new, but because they stopped long enough to feel. In that 1 minute, they saw that beneath the noise of the mind lies an ocean, silent, vast, and bright. And when you touch that ocean, you no longer search, you begin to live. I want you to do something small tonight. Before you sleep, place your hand on your heart and whisper, I am tending to my field. Expect nothing more. Simply feel the meaning of that sentence. Because each time you acknowledge the field within, you plant a new seed, the seed of loyalty to your soul. Your field will not betray you. It remembers every breath, every moment of stillness, every time you return. It answers not with words, but through the changes in you, calmness amidst chaos, clarity amidst doubt, softness amidst pain. These are signs that you are digging in the right direction. And one day, when you realize that your slow moments have become your natural rhythm, you will understand that you are no longer the seeker, but the keeper of the field. I want to leave you with a reminder, like a mantra to carry in the days ahead. I am not in a hurry. I am moving with the rhythm of life. Say it whenever you feel anxious or uncertain. It will remind you that the universe is never late, and neither are you. When you move slowly, you hear what the hurried cannot hear. When you are still, you see the light the noisy cannot see. And when you truly dig deep, you do not just find pearls, you find yourself. The law of mind, you reap what you sow in consciousness. When you have learned to move slowly and touch the soil with awareness, you begin to feel something deeper. Every thought you release is a seed, and the field within you, your subconscious, is completely honest. It does not judge which seed is good or bad, bright or dark. It only knows how to grow according to what you plant. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the law of mind, the oldest, most precise, and unfailing law. Just as the sun never ceases to shine, this law operates within every human being, every moment, whether you believe in it or not. The mind has two levels, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is the sower, the subconscious is the soil. The conscious chooses the seeds through thought, speech, and feeling. The subconscious receives them and brings them into reality. What you think often, what you say with conviction, what you feel with emotion becomes the experience of your life. If you sow in your subconscious thoughts of fear, regret, and resentment, you will reap circumstances that reflect those fears. If you sow faith, love, gratitude, and hope, you will harvest peace and abundance. The soil does not take sides. It produces according to the kind of seed. Many people ask me, Mr. Murphy, why do I pray and wish for good things, yet nothing changes in my life? I answer, because you pray with words, but sow with emotions. You may say that you believe in good, but if your heart is filled with doubt and fear, it is that emotion, not your words, that your subconscious records. I often compare the subconscious to a great garden. When you plant an orange seed, you cannot expect an apple. When you plant doubt, you cannot expect faith. And every time you think of something with strong emotion, you are watering that seed. What you repeat in your mind each day is your true prayer. Remember this, the subconscious has no sense of humor. It does not know when you are joking or just thinking casually. It accepts every image you hold as an order. When you say, I can never do this, the subconscious hears, I can never do this, and begins shaping circumstances to prove it. When you say, I am strong and clear, it believes fully and aligns everything to make it so. That is why I always teach my students how to talk to their own minds. Speak to it as you would to a gentle but powerful friend. Do not scold or force it. Whisper with faith, I am sowing peace, I am sowing abundance, I am sowing love. And then let the soil do its work. Do not forget that the soil needs time. No seed sprouts after the first night. You cannot plant a new thought in the morning and demand results by the afternoon. You must trust the process. In the silence between sowing and reaping, keep watering with faith, because even when unseen, the soil is still working. The law of mind is not a mysterious magic. It is the basic structure of life. You have seen it yourself. When you are joyful, the world around you seems brighter. When you are sad, everything feels heavy. That is not coincidence. It is reflection. The world is the mirror of your mind. Let me share a simple story. A woman once came to me in despair. Her husband had left, her work collapsed, her health was failing. She said, I have prayed so much, but God does not hear me. I looked at her and said, "It is not that God does not hear you, but that your field is reflecting what you believe. You pray with your lips, but in your heart you are sowing fear." I taught her a simple affirmation: "I'm loved, guided, and protected." I told her to repeat it every night before sleep, with a feeling of gratitude. 3 months later, she returned, her eyes glowing. She said, "I do not know how, but everything is improving. I feel calm, and what I need is coming to me." I smiled and said, "There is no mystery. You have simply begun to sow the right seed." You see, the subconscious is the most faithful gardener in the universe. It never rests and never betrays. If you sow pain, it will make sorrow bloom. If you sow gratitude, it will give you a harvest of peace. So the only thing you must learn is to choose and plant your seeds wisely. I want you to begin a small habit. Every morning, before opening your eyes, say silently, "Today I sow light, I sow joy, I sow peace." And every night, before falling asleep, say, "The soil within me is bringing forth good things. I trust the working of the law of mind." When you do this, something wonderful happens. Your mind becomes like clear water. Heavy thoughts settle to the bottom, and on that still surface, you will see the reflection of the pearl shining from within. Never say, "I cannot." Instead, say, "I am learning." Never say, "I am tired." Instead, say, "I am being restored." Because every word you speak is a seed planted in your subconscious. I want to end this part with a simple affirmation, a sentence you can carry each day. My mind is a fertile field. I sow the seeds of light, and I reap the harvest of peace. Repeat this in silence until you feel the soil within you vibrate. Then you will understand, more deeply than ever, that there is no fixed destiny, only the seeds you choose to plant in every thought you think. Asterisk, asterisk, the beginning of clearing weeds and stones, purifying the inner garden. Asterisk, asterisk. When you have understood the law of mind, that everything you think, say, and feel is a seed sown into the soil of the subconscious, the next step on your journey is to clear the weeds and pick the stones in the spiritual garden within you. No seed can grow strong if the soil is still filled with weeds and rocks. I, Joseph Murphy, often told my students that you do not need to create more light. You only need to open the door so that the light already present may enter. Clearing the weeds is opening the door, removing the stones is making space for the light to reach the seeds of your soul. But first you must understand that the weeds of the mind are not enemies, and the stones of the consciousness are not to be hated. They are simply parts of you that were once forgotten. Each stone, each weed is an old thought, a fear, a memory, or a belief that once helped you survive but now no longer serves you. You do not need to cut them down, only gently release them. Imagine yourself bending over your field, morning light resting on your hair, wind passing through your hands, as you begin the sacred work, the work of the inner gardener. Every time you recognize a negative emotion and pause to observe it instead of reacting, you have just pulled out a root of weed. Every time you forgive a memory, you have lifted a stone from your heart. Remember, inner purification does not begin with criticism, it begins with kindness. If you approach yourself with judgment, the soil hardens. But if you come with compassion, the soil softens and the weeds let go. To clear the weeds effectively, you must learn the art of non-judgmental observation. When anger rises, do not say, "I should not be angry." Say, "This is energy that wants to be understood." When sadness appears, do not push it away with a false smile. Look at it and say, "I see you. You are not my enemy." Only when you observe, without condemning, can that energy be released. The weeds of the mind grow daily from three kinds of seeds: fear, resentment, and inferiority. They cling to every part of the soil that has been left unattended. To clear them, you do not need to fight. You only need to shine light into the dark. Light is awareness, the understanding that these emotions are not you. You are the one who sees them. When you realize this, the weeds lose their roots. The stones, the hard blocks deep within the subconscious, are the old wounds and fixed beliefs. They are heavy and harder to lift, but never impossible. Sometimes you only need to say aloud, "I am ready to let go." Sometimes you just need silence, one deep breath, and tears that fall like rain. That is not weakness, that is the soil being watered. I remember a man who once came to me, carrying anger toward his father for 20 years. He said, "I have tried to forgive, but I cannot." I told him, "Because you have tried to forget, not to see." I guided him to sit down, imagine his father before him, and say, "I know you were afraid, and I return your fear to you." He did this every day, in silence. 3 weeks later, he returned and said only one sentence: "For the first time, I feel light." That was the moment the stone was lifted from the soil. Inner purification is not a painful process, it is a ritual of freedom. Each time you remove a layer, you feel more of the light from the pearl beneath. Remember, you are not changing your essence. You are allowing your true nature to emerge. I want you to begin a small practice which I call the ritual of clearing the field. In the morning, as soon as you wake, say, "Today I choose to purify my mind." During the day, whenever heavy emotions arise, do not reject them. Whisper, "I see the weeds, and I am pulling them out with light." At night, before sleep, say, "Everything that no longer belongs to me has been released. I thank and let go." These 3 steps, if done consistently, will turn your mind into clear, fertile soil. Do not think you must become perfect immediately. Purification is a process, not a destination. There will be days you feel tired, days you feel as though you are cleaning endlessly. Be patient. The dust of years cannot vanish in a day, but every breath you take is a small breeze that clears a little more. Now I invite you to do something simple, a commitment of the soul. Place your hand on your chest and softly say, "I am ready to change. I am ready to cleanse the garden of my heart." If you are reading or hearing these words and you truly feel the call within, leave a sign of that presence. Whisper to yourself, "I am ready to change," or simply think the number 1 to confirm to the universe that you have begun. Because when you declare, "I am ready to change," the universe begins to move to help you do it. That is the moment the energy of renewal is activated. The old begins to fall away, and the soil within you, after years of silence, breathes again, soft and warm. And in that breath, a new string of pearls, the pearls of clarity, begins to glimmer. Remember, purification is not the removal of who you were. It is the return of who you truly are. And your true self, in its deepest nature, is always bright, always gentle, always strong, and always enough. Asterisk, asterisk, recognizing true value. Real pearls and false ones, asterisk, asterisk. After you have cleared the weeds and lifted the stones, your mind becomes open and pure. Then you begin to see things you never saw before. On the surface of consciousness, sparkles begin to appear, but not every light comes from a real pearl. Some pebbles reflect the sunlight, bright and dazzling, yet when you pick them up, they feel cold and empty. I, Joseph Murphy, call them false pearls, the outer values that make people believe they are rich, while inside they are drained. Recognizing the real pearl means learning to distinguish between what shines with the light of the soul and what merely reflects the light of the world. What is real nourishes you. What is false consumes you. What is real brings peace. What is false brings exhaustion. In life, false pearls can be the praise that flatters you but leaves emptiness when it fades, the success that lacks meaning, or the relationship that distracts you from loneliness for a moment but does not help you grow. These things are not wrong. They are lessons, invitations to learn to recognize true worth. The real pearl is different. It is quiet, unassuming, and never seeks applause. It may lie in a small act of kindness, an honest word, or an hour of stillness at dawn. It may appear as a feeling of gratitude when you open your eyes each morning and realize you still have a chance to live and to love. The real pearl never drains you. It makes you deeper, gentler, and steadier. To recognize what is real, you must see with the eyes of the heart, not of the world. The world sees by comparison, the heart sees by resonance. When something is truly right for you, you will feel harmony, a calm inside, like 2 waves merging into one. You do not need reasons or proof. That stillness is the sign of a real pearl. But if you feel anxious, if you must force yourself or pretend to keep something, you may be holding a false pearl in your hand. Remember, true value always brings peace. Anything that takes away your peace, no matter how dazzling it looks, is not your treasure. You may lose a job, a relationship, an opportunity, but if you gain peace, that is victory. Peace is the foundation pearl, the light of the soul. Once a woman told me she was in love, but that love made her restless, fearful, and doubtful. She asked if she should stay. I told her, place your hand on your heart and feel if there is peace. If there is, it is true. If not, it is a lesson. She was silent, then began to cry. A month later, she left that relationship and said that for the first time in years, she felt light. The false pearl had fallen from her hand, and within her, the real one began to shine. The real pearl never leaves you. It may be covered by mud, by dust, by layers of habit and fear, but it remains there, unchanged and radiant. Every journey of finding true value is a journey of returning to clean off that dust. The clearer your mind, the clearer you see. The more you pause, the more you feel truth. I want you to build a small habit. Whenever you face a decision, ask yourself 3 questions. First, does this bring me peace? Second, does this make me more authentic? Third, does this bring me closer to love and gratitude? If all 3 answers are yes, it is a real pearl. If one is no, pause. Not because you fear loss, but because you honor the light within you. True pearls do not come from others. They are born from the act of living in harmony with your soul. A person living in truth, even if poor, is richer than one who has everything yet cannot hear the voice within. When you live truly, the universe becomes clear, doors open not by luck, but by resonance. Wherever you go, the light walks with you, because you carry no false pearls of worry and pretense, only the real pearl of your being. Recognizing true value is also a quiet process, never forced. You do not need to chase greatness. Just notice the small things unfolding today. When you help someone without seeking thanks, when you work with care without needing to be seen, when you choose silence instead of argument, you are touching a real pearl. Those moments create bright energy, and that light spreads naturally. Remember, everything real nourishes, everything false drains. Observe how you feel after every choice. That feeling is your truest compass. And if today you still cannot tell which is your real pearl, do not worry. Just keep living slowly. Keep clearing the soil. Keep listening. One day, you will see a soft light rising from beneath the old earth, and you will know. Then you will no longer need to prove your worth to anyone. You will not rush to seek. You will understand that the real pearl needs no display, for its light is enough to guide the whole journey. And when you live in that light, you will not only feel peace, you will become a source of peace for others. Asterisk, asterisk, deciding to buy back the field. The commitment of the heart, asterisk, asterisk. When you have learned to tell the difference between real and false pearls, when you know what brings peace and what drains your soul, a certain moment will come, the moment of decision. In the ancient parable, the merchant found a precious pearl and sold everything he had to buy the field where the pearl was hidden. On the level of consciousness, this means you choose to live fully in the truth you have discovered, without hesitation, without turning back. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the moment of wholehearted commitment, the point when you no longer just understand the truth, but begin to live it. Buying back the field is not an outer act. It is an inner decision, a promise to yourself that from this day on you will not search for true value anywhere outside. You will live according to what you know is right, whether the world understands or not. When you do that, the energy of the universe begins to move with you. What no longer fits will quietly fall away, and new people and circumstances will appear not by luck, but because you have changed your vibration. Wholehearted commitment is the turning point, the gate between the seeker and the one who has found. But know this, such commitment does not demand perfection. It only asks for honesty. Honesty with your own soul, honesty in your desire to live in the light of the real pearl. When you choose that, inner conflicts begin to fade, because you no longer live two lives, one for the world and one for the soul. Someone once asked me, "Mr. Murphy, how do I know I am truly ready to buy back the field?" I said, "It is when you stop comparing, when you no longer look to see what others have, but begin to see how you are living. It is when you stop saying, 'I will,' and begin to say, 'I am.' It is when you stop asking when and begin to say now." Readiness does not come from outer conditions, it comes from inner stillness. When you decide to belong to your own field, you gather back the energy that has been scattered in meaningless things. For years, you have invested attention in too many places, in praise, in recognition, in outcomes. Now you bring all that energy back and invest it in one place, awareness. And like any wise investor, you will soon see the return, not in money, but in peace, clarity, and strength. I once met a man who was more successful than he ever imagined, yet his eyes were weary. He said, "I have everything, but I feel I belong nowhere." I asked, "Have you ever truly chosen something to belong to?" He was silent for a long time, then shook his head. I told him, "Choose." A month later, he returned, lighter, and said he had chosen peace as his first priority. And since then, his work, family, and health had begun to change. When you buy back your field, life begins to rearrange itself. Wholehearted commitment also means you are ready to let go. Letting go is not loss. It is the release of stuck energy. There are habits, relationships, and beliefs you have held simply because they are familiar, not because they are true. When you choose to live in the light of the real pearl, these things will fall away. At first, you may feel emptiness, but soon you will see that emptiness is space for something pure and new to enter. You may ask, "Must I leave everything behind to live in this light?" I say no. You do not need to leave the world, only illusion. You still work, love, and walk among people, but you do so with a different spirit. You act not to prove, but to express. You love not to possess, but to share. You succeed not to surpass, but to radiate the light of the pearl within you. Wholehearted commitment does not require loud declarations, only a quiet moment in which you tell yourself, "I am ready. I am ready to live truthfully with my soul. I am ready to devote my life to tending this field." When you say this, the universe hears, and subtle changes begin. What no longer belongs fades, and what is truly yours finds its way to you. Remember, the one who buys back the field does not do so to own it, but to care for it. You do not buy it to keep the pearl as a possession, but to live with it, to let it light every step you take. That field is the symbol of your spiritual life, and you are its keeper. Care for it with stillness, with gratitude, and with right action. I want you to do something simple right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say softly in your heart, "I am ready to belong to my field." Feel the weight of that sentence, because the moment you say it, a door in the unseen opens. You are no longer the seeker. You have become the guardian. And from that day on, wherever you go, remember you carry the field within you. Every place you step is where the light travels with you. If you feel this now, leave a sign to the universe, a small mark of your presence. Whisper, "I am ready to belong to my field," or simply think the number 1 as a signal that you have crossed the threshold. Because from that moment on, you will no longer ask where you are going, for you will know you are already home, within your own mind, in the field of light and peace that has always been yours. Asterisk, asterisk, practicing stillness and breath, keeping the pearl shining, asterisk, asterisk. When you have chosen to buy back the field, when you have committed to living fully in the light of the real pearl, what matters next is not doing something greater, but keeping that light alive even through the storms of life. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the art of stillness and breath, the art of nourishing consciousness through pure presence, quiet and effortless, simply being here and now. Stillness does not mean doing nothing. It is the state of the mind in which every action is done in peace, free from anxiety and demand. Like a calm lake, you do not need to force the water to be still. You only need to stop stirring it, and naturally it will reflect the sky. Breath is the bridge that brings you back to that lake. Each deep inhale takes you inward, touching the depth of the field. Each gentle exhale clears the dust from your heart. Breath is the thread between body and mind. When the mind is restless, the breath becomes short and quick. When the mind is at peace, the breath is long and complete. So if you want to keep the light of the pearl pure, begin by keeping the breath pure. Each day, take a few minutes to sit quietly, place your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and observe your breath as it flows in and out without control or expectation. Watch it as you would watch a river passing by. In that moment, you return to your true nature. I once told a student, if you can sit still for 5 minutes each day in complete silence, you will hear the voice of your soul more clearly than through 100 books. Wisdom does not come from outside, it rises from stillness. In stillness, answers appear not through thought, but through direct knowing. When the mind is quiet, the universe speaks. Imagine each breath as the pulse of the field. When you inhale, you draw in the energy of the universe to renew your soul. When you exhale, you return to the earth, everything that is old, heavy, or unnecessary. If you practice this daily, even for a few minutes, you will feel a subtle change. Your mind will become clearer, like the earth after rain, soft and fresh. Many people ask me, Mr. Murphy, how can I stay peaceful when life around me is so noisy? I say, you do not need silence outside to be still inside. You only need to learn how to listen within the noise. When you keep your attention on your breath, the noise becomes background music, and you become the conductor of its rhythm. You can still work, speak, and face challenges, yet inside there remains a quiet space where the pearl rests. Stillness is not withdrawal from life. It is the art of participating fully in life without losing yourself. When you work, work completely without thinking of the result. When you listen to someone, listen completely without judgment. When you walk through the crowd, walk slowly, feel your feet touching the ground. Every complete action is another moment polishing the pearl. Try this small ritual each morning. When you open your eyes, do not reach for your phone or think of work. Inhale slowly and count to 3. Exhale slowly and count to 3. And say in your heart, I am here. I am the stillness within motion. Just 1 minute of this sets the tone for your day, for when you begin with stillness, everything you do carries the energy of peace. At night, before sleep, sit quietly for a moment, pray for nothing. Simply observe your breath and thank the field within for sustaining you through the day. Say, I am grateful to live in the light of the pearl. When you fall asleep in gratitude, your dreams grow luminous, and your subconscious continues to keep the pearl shining through the night. There will be times when, despite your efforts, life shakes you. Do not blame yourself. The pearl is never lost, only covered for a while. When that happens, return to the breath, and the light will return. Breath is the key that opens every door. Remember this simple truth: stillness is not a goal, it is the natural state that appears when you no longer resist the flow of life. You do not need to learn how to be still, you only need to stop stirring. When the mind ceases to fight, peace reveals itself. If you practice this each day, you will notice that everything around you begins to change. People will feel calm in your presence without knowing why. Your energy becomes light, clear, and magnetic. You do not need to speak much or prove anything. Your presence alone softens the space. That is the power of the one who keeps the pearl. Remember, every breath is a return to yourself. Every minute of stillness is a polish on the pearl within. You cannot control the wind, but you can learn to stand steady in it. And when you stand steady, the pearl shines and its light spreads across the field, making everything alive, peaceful, and true. Say to yourself now, I breathe, I am here, and I am peace. The sentence is simple, but if you truly feel it, the entire energy within you will change. Because in that moment, you are no longer the one searching for peace. You have become peace itself. Asterisk, asterisk, becoming a source of light for others. the radiance that spreads, asterisk, asterisk, when you have learned stillness, when your breath has become calm and your inner pearl begins to shine, you will naturally feel something unfold. That light no longer belongs to you alone. True light does not know how to stay contained. It spreads like fragrance, like the song of a stream, like the sunrise that does not choose where to shine. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the stage of spiritual sharing, the time when a person not only finds peace within, but also becomes a refuge for souls yearning for light. The energy of a clear mind needs no words to reach others. People can feel it simply through your presence. You may walk into a room and say nothing, yet the atmosphere softens. You may listen to someone with sincerity, and they feel lighter even before you speak. That is the power of the one who carries the real pearl. When you shine from within, your light touches everyone around you. It is like a candle lighting other candles without losing its flame. You do not need to try to do something great, only to live in alignment with your peace. Every small action done with awareness carries immeasurable influence. A genuine smile can change someone's gloomy day. A gentle word of encouragement can lift a person who has been lost for years. I once met a woman who lived simply without wealth or fame, yet everyone who came near her felt at ease. When I asked her secret, she said, "I try not to let the darkness in me spill over to others. I choose to shine, even if my light is small." That choice made her a quiet lamp for those around her. When you live this way, your life becomes a silent teaching. You do not need to explain anything, for your presence itself is the most powerful message. People do not learn from your words, they learn from the energy you carry. If you are at peace, they too will feel peace. If you are genuine, they too will dare to be real. If you love, they too will learn how to love. Many believe that to help others, they must have power, status, or vast knowledge. But true strength comes from the energy of a still heart, a heart that has walked through pain, understood the value of silence, and knows that every soul is learning its way back to the light. When you look at others with understanding and compassion, they feel accepted, and in that acceptance, their own seed begins to grow. Understand that being a source of light does not mean carrying the pain of others. It means standing beside them with your peace. Like a lamp illuminating a room, it does not force anyone to see. It simply exists, steady and patient. Let your presence be a safe space for those who have lost their way, so they may pause, breathe, and remember that within them too lies a pearl waiting to awaken. Sometimes your light will make those not yet ready feel uncomfortable. They may misunderstand you or distance themselves. Do not fear. True light does not need approval. It only needs to endure. When their time comes, they will remember you, and the light in them will find its way back to the light in you. All luminous souls recognize one another, even without words. You cannot change the world by arguing with it. You can only change it by becoming a living example of goodness. Let each of your actions, however small, carry the energy of love and wisdom. When you work with a clear heart, you purify not only yourself, but also your surroundings. When you listen with presence, you heal a fragment of humanity. Think of those who once inspired you. Perhaps they were not perfect, but they were true. Perhaps they were not famous, but they lived in harmony with their inner light. That is why they remain in your memory. And now it is your turn. You have walked through fear. You have found the real pearl. You have bought back your field. Now you are no longer just a learner. You are a transmitter. You teach through the way you live. I want you to do something simple today. Choose someone you feel needs comfort and silently send them a blessing of peace. Do not speak it aloud, just think it with real kindness. Then notice what happens. You will see that the energy of goodwill travels faster than any words. When you send out light, you receive light in return. It is a natural law, for giving and receiving are two rhythms of the same breath. If today you feel a little peace within you, share it, even in gentle silence, in an understanding glance, or in a compassionate smile. Because when you share peace, you do not lose it, you multiply it. And this world, so noisy and fearful, is in need of people like you, those who do not shout or argue, but quietly shine. I want to ask you one thing, a question for those who truly listen. Do you wish to become a source of light for others? If your answer is yes, say softly in your heart right now, I am ready to shine, or think of the number one as a promise to your soul. From the moment you do, your pearl will glow brighter and your inner field will widen, so that your light not only guides you, but also reaches those still walking through the dark. Asterisk, asterisk, acting from stillness, creating in peace. Asterisk, asterisk. When the light within you becomes steady, when the pearl inside your heart shines without needing a reason, you will realize something profound, that true action does not come from haste, but from inner stillness. I, Joseph Murphy, once said that the one who knows stillness knows when to act, for stillness is not passivity. It is the source of the purest creative power. Action born from stillness is completely different from action born from fear. When you act out of worry, you are only trying to fix the world to escape the unrest within. But when you act from stillness, everything you do carries the energy of certainty, quiet and unwavering. It is like a river flowing, without struggle, without competition, yet always reaching the sea. When the mind is calm, wisdom rises, and action becomes precise. You no longer need to ask endlessly what to do, because the answer appears naturally in silence. In stillness, your intuition awakens like a spiritual compass that always points to truth. When you work, create, or decide while keeping peace inside, that action will always bring good results, for it is born from harmony between body, mind, and the energy of the universe. Understand that stillness does not mean sitting motionless forever. It means carrying that quiet state into every action. When you work, let your mind not be divided. When you eat, just eat. When you speak, just speak. When you listen, truly listen. Every complete act is a moment in which you express the light of the pearl into the world. Those who live in stillness do not do much, but what they do holds great power. Like a single drop of rain falling on dry soil, it brings forth life. One who acts in stillness is not driven by results. They do not act from fear of failure or desire for success, but because the action itself is right, and that purity gives their deeds immense strength. I once met a potter. When I asked him the secret behind his beautifully alive creations, he smiled and said, I do not try to create beauty. I simply stay quiet and let my hands follow the rhythm of the clay. His stillness infused every shape with the breath of the soul. His actions created not only objects, but waves of peace that spread around him. When you do everything with a peaceful heart, your work becomes a form of prayer. People can feel it, even if no one speaks of it. A letter written in stillness can move the reader. A meal cooked in serenity can heal the one who eats it. A decision made in clarity can open the path of your life. The key is to act without leaving the stillness within. When you are busy, pause for a moment to breathe deeply, feel your breath, and say inwardly, I am working in peace. When you are caught in the crowd, remember that you carry the pearl, and nothing outside can dim it unless you allow it. You do not need to escape the world to stay bright. You only need to live within it without letting it take over you. When you walk slowly among the hurried, when you keep a gentle smile amid turmoil, you radiate an energy the world deeply needs. Action from stillness brings another gift, pure creativity. When you are free from the conflict between wanting and fearing, between past and future, you become the flow of creation itself. Ideas come naturally, opportunities appear at the right time, and you feel guided. This is not luck. It is resonance between you and the rhythm of the universe. I have said before, when your mind is calm, every door opens. When you stop searching, what you need finds you. So do not try to force life to follow your plan. Let life move through you with gentleness, like wind passing over a field carrying the scent of the shining pearl afar. Acting from stillness is also the lesson of faith. You do what is right without fear of being forgotten, knowing that no action done in light is ever lost. Every deed born from a clear heart leaves an imprint in the energy of the world, and sooner or later, it returns to you as a smile, an opportunity, or a quiet sense of joy. I want you to try a small ritual. Before beginning any task, inhale slowly and say in your heart, I do this with stillness and love. After finishing, exhale and say, I am grateful for having done this. You will feel the difference immediately. Work will no longer be a burden, but a journey of joy. Now I ask you, are you ready to live as one who creates from stillness, not chasing results, not seeking proof, but living fully in every act? If your answer is yes, say softly within, I am ready to create in peace, or think of the number one as a sign to the universe that you have understood. True power does not lie in noise, but in the radiant stillness within. When you begin to live this way, you will see that every day becomes an opportunity to create something good, not through effort, but through harmony. You are no longer trying to control life, you are co-creating with it. In the stillness of breath, in the peace of your heart, you act without strain, you create without exhaustion, and your life becomes a gentle melody where every note shines with the light of the pearl within. Asterisk, asterisk, protecting the pearl, keeping your light in times of trial. Asterisk, asterisk, when you have learned to act from stillness, when brightness has become your natural essence, the world will begin to test you. For light is always tested so that it may grow strong. I, Joseph Murphy, once said that a pearl is not formed in comfort, it is shaped through pressure and time. In the same way, a radiant mind cannot mature without moving through the friction of life. So when challenges appear, do not think you have been abandoned. Understand that the universe is helping you protect your pearl by making it stronger. Every person has dim days, moments when the outer world seems to threaten their inner light. You may be misunderstood, betrayed, or fail after giving your all. But remember, no one and nothing can touch the pearl within you unless you allow it. Others can only take what is external, but the light inside is untouchable. Keeping your heart bright amid challenges is not about appearing strong. It is about staying soft while everything around you turns hard. When the world loses patience, you remain patient. When others are angry, you stay calm. When circumstances seem against you, you still trust your direction. The true power of the soul is not found in winning or losing, but in the ability to remain undefined by conditions. A student once told me, Sir, I had lived in peace for months, but then something happened and I lost my faith. I said, you have not lost peace, you have only been pulled away from your center. When you return, peace is still there. The sun does not lose its light when clouds cover it. The light remains, waiting for the wind to clear the sky. He was silent, then said, So I just need to wait. I replied, Not only wait, but trust while you wait. When difficulties come, do not fight them. Observe them as you would watch waves reaching the shore. Every challenge has a cycle. It arrives to teach you and leaves once the lesson is learned. When you stop resisting, your energy transforms from fear to awareness, from awareness to understanding, and from understanding to freedom. Remember this, every adversity is a disguised teacher. It does not come to punish you, it comes to show you yourself. When someone hurts you, they reveal where you still carry unhealed pain. When your work reaches a dead end, it invites you to see what you are still clinging to. When loss happens, it reminds you that the true pearl never exists outside. If you learn this, you have already passed the test. Keeping your light does not mean forcing positivity. It means not letting negativity rule. You may feel pain, sadness, or disappointment, but let the emotions pass without letting them take the throne. Emotions are clouds, your mind is the sky. Clouds can never harm the sky, they only make it more alive. Practice this simple ritual whenever hardship comes. Pause, place your hand on your heart, and whisper, The pearl within me still shines. Breathe deeply, exhale slowly, and feel the warmth in your chest. In that moment, you are reminding yourself that nothing can extinguish a light once awakened. When you know how to protect your pearl, you stop fearing loss, for you understand that everything leaving you only makes space for what truly belongs to you. The world is not against you. It only mirrors the strength of your inner light. When you stay calm in the storm becomes the wind that lifts you higher. I have seen many who seem defeated, yet when they returned to their breath and faith, they not only survived, but became stronger. They told me, I do not know why, But now everything makes sense. I smiled, because that is when their pearl had become bright enough to no longer fear the dark. Remember, challenges do not come to break you, but to refine you. No pearl is formed in still waters, and no soul becomes luminous without pain. But when you learn to keep your light, you no longer fear suffering, because you see it as the tool that polishes the pearl. Ask yourself now, how many times have you allowed circumstances to steal your peace? How many times have you forgotten that your pearl was still there? And today, are you ready to keep that light no matter what? If your answer is yes, whisper in your heart, I will keep my pearl shining, or think of the number 1 as a sign that you have chosen to stay faithful to your inner light. For when you truly choose to stay bright, no one can make you dim. That light will guide you through the night, it will illuminate the paths of others, and your life will stand as living proof that no darkness is long enough to hide a soul that has learned how to shine on its own. Asterisk, asterisk, the art of transforming adversity. Turning pain into power. Asterisk, asterisk. When you have learned to keep your pearl shining in the storm, you begin to understand a deeper truth, that every adversity in life does not come to break you, but to make you grow. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the art of transformation, the art of looking into darkness and still finding light, the art of turning pain into the energy of awareness and maturity. None of us escapes wounding. We all carry cracks, falls, and memories that still ache when recalled, yet it is through those very cracks that light enters. Where you think you are weakest, strength is born. Adversity is the universe's instrument. It does not come randomly, but precisely when you need to learn something. If you fear it, you will only see the dark. But if you listen, you will hear within every hardship an invitation to look within, to release what no longer serves you, and to rise to a new level of awareness. Each time life pushes you down, do not rush to conclude that you have failed. Perhaps in that fall you will find something you could never see while standing tall. One of my students once lost everything, his job, his money, and the person he loved. When he came to me, his eyes were empty, and he said, I have nothing left to start over. I told him, you do not need to start over, you only need to start true. Let everything collapse if it is not real, because only what is true will remain. 6 months later, he returned lighter than before and said, I still have little, but I feel peace for the first time in years. I smiled, because that was the moment when adversity had been transformed. When you face pain without running away, you develop a rare ability, the ability to see opportunity within difficulty. Pain, when seen with awareness, loses its power to destroy and becomes a teacher. Once you learn the lesson, pain no longer needs to stay. You cannot change what has happened, but you can change the way you see it. And once your perception changes, the entire experience changes color. Many ask me, how can I overcome painful memories? I say, you do not need to overcome them, you only need to walk through them with light. When you bring the light of awareness into a wound, it softens, then fades. Every wound longs to be seen so it can heal. What you avoid is what waits to be embraced. Transformation is not forgetting, it is remembering without pain. When you can tell your story without resentment, you are healed. When you can thank adversity for what it taught you, you have entered the realm of freedom. Remember, pain does not make you small, only resistance does. When you open your heart to suffering, it becomes the doorway to compassion. Try this small practice. Think of a memory that hurts, and do not push it away. Place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and say inwardly, I allow light to heal this part of me. Emotions may rise, tears may fall, but do not fear. Tears are the water that washes dust from the pearl. When you allow yourself to cry, you allow your heart to live again. I have seen those who once collapsed become the strongest sources of light, because they not only know peace, they also know loss. They understand that light is not a gift, it is forged in darkness. That is why they no longer judge, no longer fear, no longer need to prove. They simply live, gently and truthfully, carrying an unshakable strength within that simplicity. When you learn to transform adversity, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And begin to ask, What is this trying to teach me? You stop blaming fate and start cooperating with it. Every hardship carries a hidden lesson, and when you learn it, it leaves. Remember, pain is a path, not a destination. It does not exist for you to stay, but to move through. And when you move through it with gratitude, it turns into power. The one who has walked through suffering and still keeps a kind heart is the strongest of all. Ask yourself, among the wounds you have carried, have you ever truly thanked one? Think of a loss you once saw as tragedy, and ask, if that had not happened, would I be who I am today? When you see the link, you will understand that the universe never sought to hurt you. It was only rearranging your life to bring you home to yourself. If today you are in adversity, trust that the light is still there. Even if you cannot see it yet, it is shining. You only need to learn how to look. Place your hand on your chest, inhale, and say, I am ready to turn pain into strength. Say it not to convince anyone, but to awaken your soul. For when you speak it with honesty, energy begins to move, and the pearl within you shines once more. Every soul must pass through darkness to know it is light. No one can do it for you. But you are not alone, for every time you face your pain with stillness, the universe whispers, you are on the right path. And when you cross through, you will look back and smile, for you will know that it was your wounds that taught you how to love deeper, understand clearer, and live more truly. Asterisk, asterisk, aligning with the flow of the universe, living in divine guidance, asterisk, asterisk. When you have learned to transform adversity, when pain is no longer a wound but a teacher, you begin to realize that everything in life moves to its own rhythm. There are times of arrival and times of departure, moments of opening and moments of closure, and all unfold within an invisible order that many call destiny. I, Joseph Murphy, call it the flow of the universe, the sacred current that operates in perfect harmony whether you believe in it or not. To align with this flow is to stop resisting life. All human suffering begins when we struggle against what is. When we try to hold on to what must leave or force what is not yet ready to arrive, the heart collides with reality. But when we accept and trust that the universe knows what it is doing, a door to peace opens. In that moment, you begin to live under true guidance, no longer controlling or forcing, but moving in rhythm with a wisdom greater than your own. The universe is the most patient teacher. It is never hurried, but it never errs. Every event in your life, big or small, belongs to a grand symphony. When you live in fear, you hear only noise. When you live in stillness, you begin to hear the hidden rhythm beneath it all, the rhythm of guidance. Then you no longer ask, what must I do? But instead, what is this trying to teach me? That question alone transforms you from one who resists life to one who flows with it. I have seen many people spend their lives trying to control everything, work, love, outcomes, even others. Yet the more they try to control, the more control they lose. When they learn to let go, things begin to align. Letting go is not giving up, it is trusting the divine order that governs all things. Like a river, when you swim against it, you tire, but when you surrender, the water carries you to where you are meant to go. Flowing with the universe does not mean sitting still and letting life happen. It means acting with trust, like trees that keep growing without needing to know where the sun is, like seeds that sprout without seeing the hand that waters them. Each time you choose to trust life instead of fear it, you tell the universe, I trust your wisdom. And the universe responds by clearing your path. Understand that the universe is always communicating with you. It does not speak in words, but in signs, intuition, and what you call coincidences. When you listen closely, you realize nothing is random. A meeting, a book that finds its way into your hands, a thought that appears at the perfect moment, all are messages, waiting for you to notice them. A woman once told me that after years of searching for meaning, she decided to stop looking for answers, and that was when the answer came. She said, it felt as though the moment I stopped chasing, the universe started moving toward me. I smiled and said, that is how life works. When you stop trying to force your plan, you begin to see how perfectly the greater plan unfolds. Living under divine guidance does not mean you will no longer face trials. It means you will know that every trial carries purpose. When you lose, you learn to release. When you are rejected, you learn to love yourself. When you are delayed, you learn patience. When you are alone, you learn to return home to yourself. And when everything finally aligns, you learn gratitude. It is all part of one lesson, learning to trust the flow. If you truly wish to feel the universe's guidance, stop forcing. Do not force others to understand you. Do not force life to move faster. Do not force results to match your plans. Do your part wholeheartedly, then let the sacred intelligence do the rest. When you stop pushing, the flow begins to carry you. Practice this small ritual. Each morning before your day begins, close your eyes and whisper, "Today I trust the guidance of the universe." Let those words sink into your heart. Then, throughout the day, when things do not go your way, pause, breathe, and remember that sentence. You will see how what once seemed to block you now begins to guide you. When you live in harmony with life, everything becomes lighter. You no longer fear the future, for you know that everything is unfolding according to the design of light. You no longer regret the past, for you see that everything that happened was preparing you for now. You no longer fight with yourself, for you know this flow is always carrying you home. Ask yourself this: do you dare to believe that the universe loves you? Do you dare to trust that every turn in your life has a benevolent purpose? If you can say within, "I trust," then in that moment, the current of life lifts you. All resistance falls away, and a peace you have never known begins to rise, as if you have stopped paddling and are being carried by the waters of grace. If you are weary today, pause, breathe deeply, and say within, "I surrender to the flow of the universe. I trust that everything is happening for my highest good." And soon you will see, whether slowly or swiftly, that all begins to move in harmony. What needs to leave will leave. What needs to arrive will arrive. And you, in peace, will walk forward without fear of being lost, for you will know that there is no path except the one leading you home to yourself. Asterisk, asterisk, the power of gratitude, expanding the field of light. Asterisk, asterisk. When you have learned to flow with the rhythm of the universe, you begin to realize that what connects every step of your journey is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a thank you, it is a state of consciousness, the way the soul opens its door to receive more light. I, Joseph Murphy, once said that gratitude is the golden key that unlocks every door of the mind. It turns what you have into enough, turns the ordinary into the miraculous, and turns you into the most fertile field in the universe. Gratitude is the language of those who understand the sacred law. When you are grateful, you are saying to the universe, "I acknowledge your grace. I see the good in all things." And when you say it with your whole heart, your energy begins to expand. The universe cannot pour blessings into a closed heart, but to a heart filled with gratitude, it gives abundantly without you needing to ask. True gratitude is not reserved for moments when life is kind. It is thanking even for what has not yet gone your way, because you understand that within every difficulty lies the seed of a blessing. When you can give thanks in pain, you affirm your faith in divine guidance. That is when your faith matures. One of my students once lost everything in a single event. When he came to me, he said, "I have nothing left to be grateful for." I smiled and told him, "Start with the smallest things, your breath, your legs, your eyes, the morning light, the song of the birds outside." He was silent for a while, and then nodded. Months later, he returned and said, "I no longer feel like before. I feel rich without needing more." When a person is grateful, even poverty becomes wealth, for gratitude is the highest form of abundance. Gratitude does not change what happens, it changes the one who sees it. When you are grateful, you look with the eyes of the heart, and everything gains meaning. A grateful soul no longer sees the world as unfair, but as precise. They no longer complain, they thank life for teaching them. This change in perception makes their energy pure and clear. Try something simple. Each morning when you wake up, before thinking of what must be done, whisper, "Thank you for another day, to love, to learn, to live." When you begin your day with gratitude, everything that follows carries the energy of light. And each night before sleeping, recall 3 things from your day that you are grateful for, no matter how small: a smile, a cup of water, a moment of peace. When you end the day with gratitude, you plant the seed of calm within your subconscious. Many people ask me how to make gratitude natural. I tell them, practice until it becomes your breath. Be grateful when you have. Be grateful when you lose. Be grateful when you are learning. Be grateful when you are waiting. When you are grateful in every state, you live at the highest spiritual frequency. At that frequency, you do not need to attract good things, for goodness finds you. Gratitude is also a silent prayer. When you are grateful, you are telling the universe, I am ready to receive more. Those without gratitude always feel lack, no matter how much they have. Those with gratitude always feel full, no matter how little they possess. And that fullness draws more goodness naturally. Understand that gratitude is not denying pain. It is seeing light even in the dark. When you can say thank you while tears still fall, you have already won, not over the world, but over the fearful self within. You do not need to pretend to be positive, only to be sincere. One genuine thank you can open a door that 1,000 pleas cannot. Imagine gratitude as the Sunday. Every time you turn toward it, your inner shadows dissolve. You do not need to chase away the darkness. You only need to shine more. When you practice gratitude daily, your mind becomes lighter, your words gentler, and your presence becomes a quiet gift to others. People may not know why they feel peaceful around you, but it is your gratitude spreading like an invisible fragrance. Try writing down 10 things you are grateful for today. Do not overthink. Just write from intuition. As you write, you send a message to your subconscious that you are living in grace. Do this each day for a few minutes, and you will notice that the list grows longer. The universe always expands what you acknowledge. If you are facing hardship today, whisper within, thank you for the lesson this challenge is teaching me. If you can say that sincerely, you are already halfway to healing. Gratitude is medicine for the soul. It calms fear, dissolves anger, and makes the pearl within you glow once again. Ask yourself, are you grateful not only when life is kind, but also when it is uncertain? If yes, you are walking in the maturity of the soul. If not, begin today. Say, I am grateful because I am still learning. I am grateful because I am still breathing. For every breath is proof that the universe is still giving you a chance to continue. If you can truly feel this, whisper within, I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful to be awakening. And in that moment, you will feel a gentle warmth rising in your heart that is the field of light expanding. You are no longer only receiving the light, you have become the bearer of it. And gratitude is the breath of a soul that has remembered who it truly is. Asterisk, asterisk, the collective soul connection, building the field of love together, asterisk, asterisk. When gratitude has become your breath and the light of your pearl begins to radiate outward, you will come to see a profound truth. That light never belongs to one person alone. It exists to be shared, to connect, to turn individual souls into a vast ocean of brilliance. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the awakening of the collective soul, the moment when each person remembers that they do not live only for themselves, but as a part of the sacred web of all humanity. In this time, the world needs your light more than ever. Every loving action, every kind thought, no matter how small, sends a real vibration into the space around you. Like drops of water in the ocean, they may seem insignificant alone, but together they create waves. In the same way, every awakened heart stirs the energy field of the world, and darkness can no longer cover it as before. When you awaken, you cannot hold your light for yourself. That light urges you to share, not to teach, but to connect. The true soul does not seek admiration. It longs to meet other souls that are remembering their origin. When two luminous souls meet, they need few words, but the world around them becomes warmer, softer, and filled with hope. I have said before, this soul is never alone, for with every step you take, millions of souls are walking beside you, unseen. When you meditate, Someone elsewhere is also sitting in stillness. When you pray, someone far away is whispering a similar blessing. When you choose love instead of anger, someone across the planet is making the same choice. All are linked within an invisible network of light. The outer world may convince you that humanity is divided, but at the deepest level, all souls are returning to the same source. Despite differences of language, color, or belief, we all share the same longing to love and to be understood. When you live by your light, you stop seeing boundaries and begin to see souls on the same journey home. Imagine this. Every time you think kindly, speak kindly, or act kindly, you are lighting a small point on the energetic map of the Earth. When millions do the same, this planet glows like a great luminous pearl. You may think you are small, but remember, every great change begins with a single heart. One loving thought can reach someone you will never meet. One gentle action can travel farther than you realize. When you help someone, not only that person is lifted, but the collective field is lifted. When you forgive, not only are you freed, but the world releases a little more resentment. When you love, that love does not end with one person. It becomes a current that moves through all things, touching places and hearts you cannot see. This is the field of love, the shared space of energy that nourishes and heals the whole. Many people believe they are not strong enough to change the world, forgetting that the world is not changed by force, but by frequency. When you live at the frequency of love, you already transform the space around you. Remember, you do not need to shout to spread light. You only need to be fully present with peaceful energy. Light is never loud, it simply shines, and darkness disappears. Try a simple practice. Each day, take a few minutes to imagine your heart shining like the sun, and see that light spreading outward like ripples on water. Imagine it touching those you love, then reaching people you have never met. Send a quiet blessing, wishing peace for all beings. When you do this, you are contributing to the collective awakening. One person can make a difference, but a community of light can change the world. Do not think of love as a feeling, but as energy, the very fabric of the universe. When you live in love, your every action becomes a bridge between humanity and divine intelligence. Every word, every look, every choice carries power. So let love be your standard in all you do. When you speak, speak with love. When you act, act with good intention. When you listen, listen with an open heart. The world does not need more grand promises, it needs more genuine hearts. And you, the one reading these words, are already part of the field of light being planted everywhere. You do not need to be perfect to contribute, only real. Live with your light, however small, for true light is never meaningless. Let me ask you, are you ready to be part of this field of love? Are you ready to live as a cell of light, free of judgment and fear, radiating compassion and understanding? If your answer is yes, whisper within, I am part of the light. I am ready to shine. Or simply think of the number one as a symbol of connection. In that moment, as you affirm it, the collective soul affirms you in return. You will feel a warmth rising in your chest, as if thousands of hearts are beating with yours. And in that sacred moment, you will understand that you were never alone. You are a beam in an infinite ocean of light, and with every breath you take, the world shines a little brighter. Asterisk, asterisk union with the source of light, becoming the field of the pearl. Asterisk, asterisk. When you have learned to connect with other souls, when the love within you expands beyond the self, you enter the highest level of awareness, where the seeker, the pearl, and the field are no longer three, but one. I, Joseph Murphy, call this the state of union with the source of light, where you are no longer the one searching for illumination, but the light itself that shines. Union is not disappearance, it is expansion into infinity. When you no longer see boundaries between yourself and the world, between inner and outer, between the divine mind and humanity, you begin to feel one reality breathing with you. Every breath you take is the breath of the universe. Every step you walk is the movement of life. Every gaze you offer is the gaze of unconditional love. At this level of awareness, you no longer seek peace, because you realize that peace is your natural state. Every search dissolves, like morning mist before the Sunday. You no longer ask how to be happy, for you understand that you are the happiness you once sought. You no longer look for God, for you see Him in every cell, every heartbeat, every breath. When you live in unity, the world is no longer a place to fear, but a stage for expression. Every person, every event, every circumstance becomes a mirror reflecting the light of the source. Those who once hurt you now become teachers of compassion. Challenges that once caused you pain now become tests of strength. What once made you doubt now leaves only gratitude. You realize that the light within you has never been born and will never die. It has never been lacking or excessive. It is beyond time, beyond form, beyond name or gain. It simply is, life aware of itself. You are that life, shining through this human form to love, to learn, to remember who you are. I have said before, the moment you realize you are the light, you no longer need to seek God, for God is not above you. He is in every breath you take. When you walk, He walks. When you love, He loves. When you forgive, He is expressed. This is the union that cannot be described by words, only felt by the heart. At this stage, you no longer need to spread light, for you have become the field of light itself. Everywhere you go becomes brighter because you are there. Everyone who touches your presence feels lighter even if you say nothing. You no longer need to inspire, for your presence is inspiration. You no longer need to prove anything, for you know that everything you need has always been within. When you look at the world, you no longer see separation. You see an endless ocean of loving energy in motion. In that ocean, each soul is a wave, different in shape but one in essence. No wave is higher or lower, no one is greater or lesser. There is only the dance of life expressing itself in countless forms, and you finally recognize that you are that dance. Imagine yourself standing in the field of light you have journeyed so long to find, but this time you no longer see a pearl lying in the soil, because you have become the pearl itself. The light radiates from within you, spreading across the ground, into the wind, into the Sunday. Everything around you becomes clearer, for you are no longer searching. You are living in the wholeness of pure being. This is not the end, but the true beginning. From now on, each day is not a quest for something missing, but a celebration of the light that has awakened. You still work, love, and experience as others do, but with a new awareness. You are no longer swept away by life, you move with it. You are no longer ruled by emotion, you choose which feeling stays. You begin to understand that everything that happens is right, for the universe never loses rhythm. There is no accident, no mistake, only perfect steps in the music of existence. When you know this, fear dissolves, regret fades, and only love remains. Know that your journey does not end here. It only transforms. You will keep walking, but not as a seeker, as one who has come home. You will continue to shine, not through words, but through presence. You will continue to teach, not through books, but through the way you live. Before we close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the breath flowing in and out, and whisper within, I am the light. I am the field of the pearl. Let that sentence spread through you, merging with space, with every cell, with all that is. For when you say it with complete trust, you have already come home. You need nothing more. You do not need to prove or to perfect. You are already whole, already the brightest pearl in the vast field of the universe. Live, love, be present, and let your light shine not to be seen, but to illuminate the path for those still walking. And as you move forward, remember, the field of pearls is not somewhere else. It is you, and you are it. Every step you take is light, every breath you breathe is a prayer, and every day you live is a miracle. For in the end, there is nothing to find, because you are the treasure, you are the light, you are the field of the pearl, radiant, eternal, and whole.